Right, not good news there about the vaccine. That could take up to 18 months, but some good news in terms of treatment. The research trial led by the World Health Organization to find a solution for COVID-19 focuses on that treatment and not on a vaccine. The WHO says it could take months to develop a vaccine and other treatments may be developed earlier. Some of the countries participating in the Solidarity trial are Argentina, Bahrain, Canada, France, Iran, Norway, Spain, Switzerland and Thailand. The leader of South Africa's effort is Professor Helen Rees. She says local experts are looking at both old and new treatments to fight against COVID-19, and she joins us on the line now. Professor, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. I want to start off by finding out why it's so important that data gathered from studies conducted by these various countries involved are collated under the umbrella of the WHO.
Yes, that's a very good question. In China, there were a number of studies done by very good researchers. But of course, they were responding in the Chinese outbreak very rapidly. So one of the problems with some of the data we're looking at is that the studies were just too small to answer the question. If we want to answer the question very quickly about what works in terms of treatment, the world needs large studies with many people contributing. It's also a benefit because you get people who are global citizens, who are patients from all over the world, and you'll be able to see how different therapies work in different populations as well. So that is what is under discussion with some of the country's best clinician researchers in our academic hospitals.
And Professor, looking at the global death rate, one has to assume that treating COVID-19 is very complex. Why so?
Well, first of all, it's a new virus, so we're sort of learning as we go. We're learning about the virus, we're learning about the natural history of the disease, and we're in the same way. We have to learn not quite from scratch, but we have to be able to look at products that are on the market that are antivirals that we think might work because they've shown some activity, say, in the laboratory or against other coronaviruses, and also looking for new drugs that we think would work. But it's a challenge because we're trying to understand this infection and this virus at the same time as trying to find therapies for it.
So South Africa is very uniquely positioned in that we've got a lot of experience dealing with immune-compromised patients. Does our experience with HIV give us sort of an upper edge or an advantage in terms of trying to find new treatments dealing with old systems in place?
Well, certainly South Africa has built up a remarkable reputation, and justifiably so, for being able to do very high-quality clinical trials that have contributed to the development of new drugs and new vaccines. Sadly, but it's true that one of the reasons why we have built this capacity is because of things like HIV and TB, because we've had many researchers focusing on it. But we also have world-class researchers in our hospitals looking at many other infections as well. So we indeed do have a strong clinical research capacity here.
Now, we spoke about the number of countries collaborating on these trials, but there are also within South Africa a number of institutions taking part in this Solidarity trial. Give us a little bit more information about them.
Well, we had a call at the end of last week because we've only just got the research protocol. All of the 8 of the faculties of health sciences have agreed to look into this. So over this weekend, the senior scientists in the different institutions are looking at this protocol and discussing whether they feel they will be able to participate, and we'll be discussing this as a group again tomorrow.
Thank you very much. We've been speaking to Professor Helen Rees. She's the chairperson of the South African Health Products Regulatory Authority. South Africa taking part there in a global attempt to try and find new treatments to deal with COVID-19 while we try and find a vaccine. That effort is set to take up to 18 months, so treatment absolutely critical at the moment.